Alright guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Going to begin to the preview and picks here for the Wyndham Championship. Really it's going to be the last full tournament field event that we have before the playoffs, before NFL season. A lot of people start to overlook this event as well, so it's one that you can normally go out and attack. Then that being said, a lot of people do start to move on to football, but coming playoffs, 9 of 5 has a little something interesting for you for those FedEx Cup playoffs that we'll be talking about a little bit more next week. We'll be getting into that. Gonna have some contests for you guys, something fun to look forward to for next week. But now let's do that quick recap of the previous week. So just looking at it, so last week was a pretty interesting week. Really felt bad for Abraham Answer, and honestly kind of felt bad for Bryson DeChambeau as well. It's kind of unfortunate that the heckling has kind of went the way that it has, where not only we can kind of tell it affects Bryson, who, it's very tough to hate Bryson, I think, but it's easy to dislike him, so I can see why people would dislike him. But very weird in the sport of golf for people to be like so negative towards one player when, kind of one player that started is kind of more of a douche and another player is just kind of being their self. It's kind of a weird situation there, but it's even more of a situation when it clearly affects another player. And that's where I was really surprised by golf fans really just hounding Bryson when you got the winner or the leader in Harris English, up 4. Kind of just a whole strange scenario there. Not only that, but the whole getting on the clock and whatnot. Just a strange scenario there, which led to Abraham Answer kind of backdooring into he backdoored into a victory. Just kind of talking about that. Abraham Answer was a top 3 stab hit on the 9 of 5 model. That was pretty nice. Sam Burns was the top value pick. I ended up finishing second. Harris English was the core play. I ended up finishing 4th. I honestly just felt bad for him there. That was just a weird situation there. And then just looking at over some of the other players, Paul Casey, 7th in the player pool, rated out really well. Daniel Berger, 6th in the player pool. Those guys both finished top 5. So, there's definitely an avenue for some people to have some good weeks. And I know a lot of people from 9 to 5 Nation had some, pretty strong weeks. Kind of just not getting the right high-end player personally was kind of my downfall. Kyle Morikawa or, Brooks Koepka, those are kind of the 2 guys I was most high on in that high-tier price range. If they had a good week, would have been a phenomenal week for me personally. And then just throwing it out there, that Barracuda Championship freaking nailed it. They just didn't have the contest. They took it away. I was kind of mad. I was super excited to get that contest, and then they took it away from us. Had a sweat going with Adam Schenk and Roger Sloan. Neither of them could close it out, but it was nice to have Adam Schenk in the lead. And that's kind of the thing about the betting card as well. It's that I don't remember the last time we didn't have someone in contention. It's been a while, so kind of just another fun week there on the DFS side. But looking forward to the Wyndham Championship. Now a lot of people are going to tell you the Webb Simpson narrative. I will. He named his daughter after this tournament. He just dominates this tournament. It's pretty much his home tournament. We just want to look at a bunch of players that are from North Carolina area. He's definitely leading the pack there with that narrative. Then we got some other players like Harold Varner in this area. He always tends to play well at this tournament. You got Doc Redmond, who also does tend to play well at this tournament as well. So there's a lot of people. We can even go further. A guy that I'm going to be on a little bit more, Seamus Power, Kevin Struman, JT Poston. He won here last year. Mackenzie Hughes, Will Zalatoris. Some people are going to be on him. So, there's definitely a lot of players that are very interesting, I think, this week, just in terms of course, hometown, I guess local ties fit there. I kind of like that. But looking over, we kind of know which key stats to look at. We're going to be looking at ball striking, strokes gained approach, and then birdie to bogey ratio. We're kind of the top 3 stats in terms of who went out and played well. Yes, strokes gained to the green as well, but that's typically always the case. But really saw significantly ball striking, birdie to bogey ratio, and strokes gained approach be the most predictive key stats. And then we can also throw in there a little bit of good drive percentage. We saw that a little bit more. And then par 4 scoring as well. Those are going to be some other key stats that we're looking at. And then as well, the effective scoring. I think that's one of the reasons why the 9 to 5 model has been the most predictive model out there. So going to keep looking at that as well. But enough with kind of the fluff, I guess, if you will. Let's get into what you guys came for. Let's get into the picks. All right, so you guys know the drill. We're going to be getting into the top 4 picks in each price point range. Now, there was some very interesting pricing choices that DraftKings did this week. Just starting off, had Hideki being the highest price player on the site, I thought that was pretty interesting, especially with the quality of play that Louis has been. I'm not saying Hideki's bad, ranks out top 7 in the 9 to 5 mile this week, but Louis, the first player in the 9 to 5 model, the only, I guess, weakness is that he doesn't have any course history here. Other than that, second best staff in the field, first best in recent form, 13 straight make cuts in a row. I mean, I don't really need to tell you guys that. He's just been a stud. So he's a player that I'm going to look to at 10.7. I'm perfectly fine with him as a play at that current price point. Then we can go down into kind of the tournament. They should just name this Webb Simpson Classic, honestly. Third, second, third in this last 4 years here. We look at par 4 scoring first in that, third in birdie to bogey ratio, top 50 or better, and all the other key stats that we're looking at except for strokes gained approach. Now, really, the problem with Webb has been like one really bad round that has led to a couple of missed cuts, but he's been playing better recently, a 15th and the 19th place finish. Besides that recent form rank, 32nd, which isn't horrible, 5th best staff at, second best course history, which is kind of crazy, and then fourth best player in the 9 to 5 model. Given kind of the course narrative with him, I like him as a pick this week. And we can go down into Jason Kokrak, and I'll just pull him up here a little bit more on the 9 to 5 player profile. Ooh, there's Louis Oosthuizen already queued up, but we'll get Jason Kokrak in there as well. Give him the face time that he deserves. So yeah, Jason Kokrak, just want to pull him up here a little bit more. This will begin updated here tomorrow morning, but just looking at 81% chance to make the cut. He's one of 4 players that have over an 80% chance to make the cut. Just look at his last 4 starts here, guys. Really phenomenal. 15th, 6th, made cut, and then a 16th place finish. Really strong course history there. And just looking at the stats as well. Top 10 in ball striking, top 20 in effective scoring. Really none of the stats are saying that he should struggle this week. They're all saying that he should go out and have a good week. Top 20 stat fit, top 3 play in the 9 to 5 model. At 10K, it is still paying up a decent amount, but we've seen him have that winning upside. It wouldn't surprise me if, we have that upside with him once again this week. To me, Jason Kokrak at 10K is a great lineup starting price point for him. Then we're going to get into the last player. It's one that I'm kind of scared of playing, especially the fact that I want to play Webb as well. It's because these two have kind of been a little bit more hit or miss than you would expect. But Sungjae Im ranking second best in the 9 to 5 model this week. We look at his first 2 starts here, a 9th and a 6th place finish. Obviously, we love that. He's one of the other players here that have an 80% chance to make the cut. We look at the key stats. Top 4 there. All the key stats are going to be top 50 or better. The recent form has been better as well. That's what we like to see from Sungjae. He's just kind of at a price point that so far I've been able to end up on a decent amount. The problem with him is that, we're very limited by upside. I would say it does seem like he's due. He kind of feels like much more of an outright betting pick than he does a DFS pick because there is that inherent risk in there still with Sungjae Im. Now we'll get into the mid-tier price point plays. All right, so now moving down into the mid-tier price point range, I do want to start off with Seamus Power. Now, normally I'd be all in on a player like this with that strong recent form. I think it's the best in the field. I'd have to look at the cheat sheet here, but guys, first, 8th, 19th, 19th, 9th. Just been a stud with his recent form. Course history isn't bad as well. 27th, 60th, missed cut, and then barely a made cut. But for a guy like Seamus Power's caliber, I guess, in those seasons, I like to see that he was able to make the cut, and maybe it's because of his ties. He currently is living in North Carolina, so obviously that's a good sign as well. We look at his key stats here. Strokes gained to the green, top 20, effective scoring, top 30, and then birdie to bogey ratio, 8th. So obviously if his game is going to be clicking, he's going to be a great pick. At 8.5, that is a little bit to pay up for him, but top 15 play in the 9 to 5 mile, top 10 stat fit. I really like Seamus Power at 8.5. Does feel a little bit more like I don't want to say GPP only play, but it is going to be a little bit more risky for cash. But I think that's going to be the week that we have, although there are some good value plays that we can get away with this week. And then there's only one other really good, I don't want to say really good, but decent mid-tier price point play. And then after that, it really just falls off, I think, personally. So we'll just talk about those other players here. We got Kevin Kisner, Gary Woodland, and then Ricky Fowler, I guess. But we'll start off with Gary Woodland and Kevin Kisner. So Gary Woodland has been playing some better golf recently, a 7th and 11th place finish. We've seen those upside finishes from him more recently. It's just he needs to be a little bit more consistent. We just look at the long term, this would be a good course fit for him. 8.7 is a lot to pay up for him. Only guy you want about like 5% of your GPP builds. Then here he is. Here's Ricky. Ricky has been trending in the right direction for, a while now. 3 straight make cuts in a row. Just kind of looking at long term as well. This would be an overall good course for Ricky, although still not ranking out too well. Is pretty well there for recent form rank, top 10 recent form rank. And then we look at someone like Kevin Kisner. Kevin Kisner having those local ties here to this area makes me like him a little bit more, and kind of points to probably why he has good course history, a 3rd and a 42nd place finish. We all know with Kisner the famous quote like, why do you play in the other tournaments in which you don't think you can win? Well, this is probably going to be a tournament that he thinks that he can win. 5 straight make cuts in a row. The only problem with him is, once again, like Sanjay, the finishes have not been great. The upside might be a little bit limited, only ranking out top 30 in the 9 to 5 mile this week. And that's kind of the issue with this range. Other than like Shaman's Power, I don't really like anyone. So really, maybe just Power. And then you just go down to the low tier and value tier, and you fill in with the high tier plays. So talking about some of those low tier price point plays I like, there's a ton. Okay, I like Snedeker. I like Mito here. Jonathan Vegas is a fine pick as well. But we're going to start with probably one of the most mispriced players on the slate. Not the most. There's one clear cut, just way too cheap play. But Hank Lebioda, I mean, 7 straight make cuts in a row. He did have to withdraw from the 3M Open, one in which, he might have won. Honestly, the way he's been playing, he could have easily strung together a couple of really good rounds and won it. Now, obviously, a lot would have had to go his way, but the point is still there that he's been playing some great golf, top 5 in recent form rank. Course history could be a little bit better, but 2 straight make cuts in a row, we do like to see that. Top 16 play in the 9 to 5 model as well. We love that. I wish he would have a little bit more of a, better finish at this course in the past, but still kind of checking all the boxes for me. Top 16 play in the 9 to 5 mile, 7.6. That's definitely way too cheap of a price tag for him. Then we look at something like Patton Kazire, 3 straight make cuts in a row on tour and also at this tournament. Not a horrible stat fit. Obviously the par 4 scoring worries you, and there's nothing too elite, but there's nothing too worrisome as well. Top 40 stat fit, top 18 course history rank, and top 34 recent form rank. Overall, top 21 play in the 9 to 5 mile this week at 7.6. That's a price point that I'm okay with this week. And then kind of following a little bit of the local ties narrative a little bit more, we look at Harold Varner, who, coming off of a 15th place finish at the Barracuda, really hanging my hat on that, to be honest with you guys. But overall, not a bad stat fit as well. Top 30 stat fit in the 9 to 5 mile this week. Look at the course history, 7th, 60th, 53rd, and 10th place finish. We like that. Top 20 play overall in the 9 to 5 model as well. That's okay for me for Harold Varner at 7.5, but there are a ton of great plays in this price range. I would say the best strategy would be to kind of just spread out the ownership. Then going a little bit lower, there is one player that kind of caught my eye right before the value tier price point range. That's going to be Ryan Armour. Okay, he did miss a cut the Barracuda. We hate that. But it's 6th place finish at the 3M Open prior to that. Okay, probably, a much better course fit for him. And overall, this is going to be a much better course fit for him as well. 5th best course history. That's because he has had 4 straight top 25 finishes. A 25th, 22nd, 8th, and 4th place finish there for Ryan Armour. Just given that course history, obviously, this is a course that he likes. I'm going to be chasing that a little bit. Top 16 play in the 9.5 model as well. And then we get into the value tier. This value tier is pretty loaded. You can make a case for all these guys. Even Jim Herman, honestly, if he wasn't the defending champ, I would go back to the well with him again. He did fall off, but 5 straight make cuts in a row. He's been playing some great golf. If you want to play him, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I'm just not going to go that route. But someone that I do like is going to be Scott Stallings, who has made 4 straight cuts in a row, been trending in the right direction. He's coming off of the top 20 finish last week. 2 straight make cuts at this tournament before 2 missed cuts. But we look at the key stats, nothing horrible. Top 22 stat fit. Could be a little bit better overall in the 9 to 5 model, but still, I really don't mind him as a pick this week. Then we go a little bit lower. Let's just go with the obvious pick, and we'll pull him up here on the 9 to 5 player profile. And just, he's going to be a core play as well. Just obviously too mispriced here, guys. 5 straight make cuts in a row, and they've been solid finishes. Really, his last 2 tournaments, the 3M Open and the Barracuda Championship, he's right he's been right in contention. Okay, he just hasn't been able to close out. And honestly, if we can get someone that might be in contention on Sunday at 6.7, I'm going to take that. Ranks out top 8 in the 9 to 5 mile this week. Has good course history. 31st and a 39th place finish. Once again, with the value pick, if we get that, I'm good with that as well. But, top 17 staff at the par 4 scoring could be a little bit better, but everything else is going to be, right around T65 or better. We'd love to see that at 6.7 for a quality pick like Roger Sloan. I just don't get it. That was definitely a weird mispriced play there for DraftKings. And we're going to get into 2 other players here. Looking at Bryce Garnett, I don't mind him. 3 straight make cuts in a row, 54% chance to make the cut. That's fine. But we look at his course history, 1 missed cut, and then a 6th and 20th place finish. Obviously, we like to see that. Kind of going back to what I said with Ryan Armour is that, this is a good course fit for him. Top 40 staff fit, not that great, but not that horrible. Top 30 pick in the 9 to 5 mile at 6.8. We're going to take that all day, at least in like 7% of GPPs. Them getting into one other player. It's going to be Henrik Norlander. Okay, 1 for 1 for his cuts here in the last 4 years. We can see it with him. Just inconsistency in his game is the best way to sum it up. Effective scoring, not that good. Birdie to bogey ratio, not that good. Just needs to be more consistent. Needs to cut down on those bogeys. Other than that, his game has been there. Good ball striker, good par 4 scorer. Pretty good in strokes gained tee to green. 5 straight make cuts in a row. Has been showing that upside there as well. Henrik Norlander at 6.6 is going to be worth the risk. But once again, guys, there are going to be a lot of quality value picks. So, definitely do your research and kind of figure out what line of path you want to do. I will say it's pretty easy to go. Louis Oosthuizen, I'll do a sample build for you guys here real quick. So once again, you just click on the player. Let's just do Webb and Louis, for instance. Then let's go into that value tier price point range real quick. Let's find Roger Sloan. Let's sort by salary. All right, so we're going to find Roger Sloan because that's just like a free square this week. It should be. On paper, it's a free square. So we got 3 players in. Feeling pretty good. 78% chance to make the cut right now. That's pretty darn good. Let's get Norlander in there. 54% chance to make the cut. That could be a little bit better. I'm not saying you have to go 3 values, but for example purposes, I'm going to put 3 value picks in there. Jason Duffner is another guy that I don't mind this week, but we'll go Bryce Garnett for this example. And we have a lot left over. We could fit maybe, we can't fit Sanjay in there. Let's go 8.6. Seamus Power instead of Sanjay there. And here's a pretty decent build right there for you guys. 68% chance to get 6 for 6 across the cut line. Don't mind that. Projected fantasy points, 472. 100 off. You can make a pretty good GPP or cash build if you want to go that route this week. But that's all I have for you guys this week. Remember, make sure to watch the core plays video that will be out. I know I already gave you guys Roger Sloan. Let's hopefully can kind of come through this week and close out a victory. That'd be pretty nice, but obviously we just want him to make the cut. And then be on the lookout for the fades, sleepers, and values video as well. That will be posted Tuesday morning. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be covering that preseason DFS for you guys, in which we did have Kalen Ballage as one of the top 8 players that we highlighted, or only 8 players that we highlighted on last week's video. So, pretty fun stuff there. All right, but that's all I have for you guys this week. If you guys want to join 9 to 5 Nation, $10 a month, best value in PGA DFS. All right, that's all I have for you guys, and as always, let's keep cashing.